Hi, welcome along to Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a January transfer move to the Arsenal. And if you was watching Arsene Wenger's press conference yesterday, he was asked about transfers, asked about if he's going to bring in any more players. He didn't exactly say, no, I'm not going to bring any players, but he was sort of specifically asked about strikers. And his quote was, I've got it here, he goes, Welbeck is 2 to 3 weeks away, and I'm confident that I will not find a better player than Welbeck on the market. That's what he said, right? Is there a better player than Danny Welbeck on the market? That's first and foremost. And number two, we know what Arsene Wenger's like. He never reveals what his thinking is. We know what football's like. We know what we've been like with injuries and setbacks to players. And if there was, for instance, to be a setback to, say, Danny Welbeck, again, that would leave us really effectively with only 2 out-and-out strikers. So, again today, as in yesterday, where we were linked with 3 strikers, we've been linked with another couple of strikers today. First player we've been linked with is a guy called Inaki Williams. Now, this is a guy that has been heavily linked at the moment to Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp apparently very interested in him. Arsenal been scouting this guy for quite a while as well. He's only young, 21 years of age. He plays for Atletico Bilbao. He scored one of the best goals I've seen this season. It was an absolutely amazing goal that he scored in La Liga. And he's really been hotting up La Liga this season. He's said to be the fastest player in La Liga. So he's got lightning pace. And we know what it's like in modern day football. Everybody loves players with lightning pace. He's already scored 10 goals in 21 appearances this season. And he has a release clause in his contract of 15.7 million, which is an absolute steal for a 21-year-old who's been doing very well in La Liga this season. Now, I think a lot of the clubs realise that if you don't snap this guy up in the transfer window, what Bilbao will do if they're smart and listen, they're a football club, they're surely going to know this, if I know this, is try and sign him up onto a new contract, put a new release clause in there that say you can't, go unless someone offers you, say, 40, 50 million. And then it becomes a whole lot more expensive to sign him if you want to get him in the summer, or you won't be able to get him at all. So should Arsene Wenger move for Inaki Williams? We know that Arsenal have been scouting this guy a lot, or have they scouted him and thought to himself he's not what they want? Or is he right that he's not a better player than Danny Welbeck? So what's the point in trying to sign him when Welbeck's coming back? Another guy is Andre Yarmolenko. Again, another guy that we've been looking at this guy for quite a while. We was looking at him very hard in the summer. He'd be available for about 20.5 million. Yarmolenko, Ukrainian international, plays for Dynamo Kiev, very experienced player. He scored 13 goals already this season and had 8 assists in only 22 matches. That is sensational form that he's got at the moment. Wenger, we know, is an admirer of Yarmolenko. Whether Dynamo Kiev will want to sell him, that's another matter. But there's a newspaper media outlet called A Bowler, and they've claimed that Arsenal have already opened talks in trying to sign Yarmolenko. Not an out-and-out striker. Plays a lot off of the flanks, but is a very, very good player. Now, they claim that Arsenal are in talks to try and sign him. I'm not sure if Kiev would let him go, but let's see what happens with that one. The curious one is we've just signed Mohamed Elneny, but there's still talk, according to the Daily Mirror, linking us with 3 defensive midfielders. Victor Wanyama, for one. We've known about Wanyama for a long time. I didn't realise it, but Wanyama's only got 18 months, I think, left on his current deal. So, again, if they are going to sell him, it would make sense for them to sell him this month, because I suppose at the moment, the sort of prices that Southampton have been talking about him, 20 million and things like that, 18 months on a contract, they might do well to get that. And then if he doesn't move now and he moves in the summer, he's only going to have a year left in his contract. That price of 20 million is going to plummet down to something like probably about 10 to 12 million max, because he's only got a year left on his contract, in which he'd then be able to walk away for free. So nobody's going to want to pay big money. So Wanyama could be available. The Mirror also claimed that Arsenal still interested in William Carvalho, the youngster from Sporting Lisbon. We've been linked with forever. Of course, he suffered a really bad injury at the start of the season, but Arsenal heavily linked still to William Carvalho. Could that one happen after all this time? I don't know. I just think it would have happened already if Arsenal were genuinely interested in him. And the other one that's been always seems to be going on, Mr. Lars Bender, who a lot of Arsenal fans would have loved to have saw us brought in. Defensive midfielder, plays for Bayer Leverkusen. Again, another guy though who's had a lot of injuries. Maybe that has always killed the interest from Arsenal, because they're like, oh, he's injured again. Lars Bender, again, another player that the Mirror saying that Arsenal would ideally like to take one of these in January, if not move for one of them definitely in the summer, because they still feel they need another defensive midfielder. I'm not sure if we've got this Elneny guy, and right, okay, Wenger was saying yesterday that he's a versatile player, can play defensive midfielder, or he can play box-to-box midfielder, which kind of suggests that he hasn't even 100% decided on what position he's going to play him in. But if you've got this guy, and he is a defensive midfielder, and Francis Coquelin, then you don't really need to bring in anybody else, because you've got, well, if this guy lives up to it, then you've got two very good defensive midfielders. Remember Christian Bielik, who we signed last year in the window as well, a young guy who's coming through maybe in the future as well, who could step up into that position. So I don't know. Are Arsenal, the Mirror claim that they think that Arsenal's still very interested in them, or are Arsenal maybe going to try and see what's go with what they've got? Gonna have to wait and see. Finally, Mohamed Elneny was in training yesterday, and that's really good news for Arsenal. He could make his debut at Stoke. He could be thrown right into the Lions' den. Now, if you want to know about physical football, intense atmospheres, hard away games, that is like throwing somebody into the Lions' den. So that would be a tough game for Mohamed Elneny. You know what? If he's good enough and got the experience, I wouldn't be against throwing him in, because I don't think Matthew Flamini's covered himself in glory in recent games. And if Elneny could impress in training and be that guy that could come in and step into that game, I'll tell you what, I would not be against that in the slightest, whether he'd be risked or not, in such a highly intensive game, should I say. I'm not sure about that, but Elneny in with a shout for playing tomorrow, as is Alexis Sanchez, so that's good news as well. Right, listen, let's get into a couple of your guys' comments from yesterday, talking about the transfer links. Remember, I spoke about Lacazette, saying that he wants to come and play in England. Maximus says Lacazette, excuse me, Lacazette is garbage, no skill, and his hold-up play is non-existent. He wouldn't suit us at all. So Maximus seems to have scouted Lacazette, and he's not impressed at all. Hollers 444 says Wenger said he isn't signing a striker because of Welbeck. He was never going to unless Welbeck got a setback. That's why he originally meant, he said, one, maybe two. Your mind reading now, Holler. You could be right, by the way. You could be right, because, I mean, Lyrian Tannister answers that. He says, Welbeck has been getting setbacks since last season. We can't rely on him not in getting another one. And that is very true. So, and this guy, Inaki Williams, Yarmolenko, these are quality players. So, you never know. Ari Gabriel says, a loan would be the best for all parties concerning Pato. Number one, we won't risk losing any money on him. Two, he will prove he's back to his best. And three, other teams will want him since he's proven himself fit. The ongoing story of Pato. It's interesting that Chelsea have passed on Pato. I don't know. It's just mysterious that every club doesn't seem to want to risk it with Pato. And Antonio finally says, I can see Lacazette ending up somewhere like Tottenham in the summer when Kane leaves them. I like that one. So those are some of your comments from yesterday. very interesting to see what happens from now to the end of the window. Will Wenger sign anyone else? I think it's the Wenger philosophy now. If he sees a player out there of outstanding quality, he may move and buy them. If not, he's probably going to just keep it as it is. Leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. Do we need a striker? You know, because the good news is Coquelin, Welbeck, Jack Wilshere, my man, they're all back in training now. I mean, they're not back in training and that they'll be back next week, but they're all back running. These guys are starting to come back now. Rosiki's back in training. You know, Alexis Sanchez on the verge of coming back. Do we need to sign anybody, or do we go with what we've got now from now till the end of the season with Elneny added? Or do you think another exciting? I tend to look on it and think to myself, if Arsenal brought in another exciting player to add to that team and give the team a real, you know, boost up again, that could be the sort of thing that pushes you to get you over the line. So it can also work the other way, where that person can come in and disturb the equilibrium of the team. So I don't know. Guys, let me know. Leave it in the comments below. And thanks for watching AFTV Transfer Daily.